Now, I'd be remiss if I was to close out today with covering everything that Trump has said and everybody who's going out and everybody who's coming in if I didn't mention Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, who's been there since the goddamn beginning. And like him or not, I'm somebody who's been, you know what, I've heard both sides of the arguments, and I think he's a pretty stand-up dude, okay? Could I be wrong about him? I don't know. Did he have a hand to play in forcing Mike Flynn out in the beginning? Potentially. So did Mike Pence, but for the most part, I think that Pompeo's on the level, okay? I'm not quite in that whole Q cabal when they're saying that, oh, Mike Pompeo was going to sweep in at the last second, but that's probably old information. I'm sure that they've all moved on to something else, but he spurged everybody out on Twitter twice today, and this one here is just so great because he has this really decent, really heartfelt message to the American public, and we're going to go through it slide by slide. I think it's like 4 or 5 tweets, and then the one that's on the side of the screen there, you guys can see it, and he drops the ether on the CCP, and I just love to see it. So first and foremost, in 26 hours at the time that he posted this thread and everybody got a chance to read it, you'll only be able to follow me at Mike Pompeo, sure, whatever. Serving as your Secretary of State has been a privilege and an honor. I'm immensely proud of the achievements we've had in the past 4 years. Just, follow him here. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or whatever you retweet, I suppose. And then, this is where it starts to get all fucking spurgy, obviously. The duty to secure America first never ends. Slightly out of order, but we're going to get the gist of it here. As I have said said from day one, it has been an honor to serve the world's finest diplomatic corps. I want to thank the employees of the State Department who have answered the call and executed our mission on behalf of the American people over the past 4 years, just showing a bunch of different pictures of when he's been around and just doing great stuff around the world. He was one of those guys who would get on the planes and go and meet with the diplomats in person, and just a stark contrast of everything that was going on in previous administrations. Like, the guy was out there making deals. Everybody was concerned about him when he first came in 2016, but like it shows here, Susan and I will never forget church, family, friends back in Kansas, without whom none of us would have been possible. Thank you, Kansas. Yes. Showing you that regardless, like, what would you put the Secretary of State? Like the third most important person in the government? Yeah, just showing that he's still a loyal man at the end of the day, that he's not going to forget where he came from, and regardless of all the cool places he got to go throughout the past 4 years, regardless of the people that he got to meet, Kansas still holds a huge place in his heart, and his family and his friends and his faith are chief among those. And I just don't know what you could possibly say to that. That's just a fucking nice thing to say. And then, we got into the America first, and that just where the spurg fit begins. We moved past foreign policy elites peddling the same old failed ideas on the left and on the right. Not popular in the swamp, but it produced great results like the Abraham Accords. Yes, all of the great peace deals that are in the Middle East, which will, I don't know, get swept under the rug or immediately get ripped up by the incoming Biden administration. Like, Trump is never, ever, ever going to get the proper thanks and the proper appreciation for those peace deals because nobody else would have got them before. Fuck, the most significant developments in the Middle East in what, half a century? Or do we care to go that far? Yeah, without a doubt, he was 100% instrumental in the success of the Trump administration. Like, him, Mark Meadows, Pence were pretty much the only stable people that were around the Trump administration. The only people that didn't get changed out. People just, did their job. Like I said, there might be some stuff out there that I would disagree with him on, but for the most part, he just strikes me as a kind of an affable dude. Now, that might hit a little bit different if I was a supporter of the CCP, like Joe Biden, which is why this fucking seemingly innocuous thread is getting trashed right now. Because not long after that, Pompeo designates China's treatment of Uyghurs an act of genocide. Oh, like the original tweet itself, there's enough Twitter journalism out there, so we're going to go to an actual quasi-news source. I know I picked Fox News, but forgive me. He posted a couple of tweets out there and had a formal press release as well. We are witnessing the systemic attempt to destroy Uyghurs by the Chinese party state. Yep, very much so. I've documented it as well. The Guardian has been on the ground. A couple of other, I think BBC or some other independent news sources out in the UK have been there. And it's important because new sanctions got placed on, and this is going to reflect very badly if the incoming Biden administration is going to remove those sanctions, because that would make them look like they're sympathizing with a genocide, which a lot of nations around the world patently and obviously recognizes right there. So this puts them behind the 8 ball, the Biden administration, that is. They would have to look to be siding with China in order to reverse any of these late breaking sanctions. In a parting shot, as he prepares to leave office, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo accused China in a state-sanctioned genocide of the Uyghur Muslim population in Xinjiang province. I don't know why they're not putting Muslim on there, because I think that, I know why, because Trump hates Muslims, so they wouldn't want to give him him and his administration any sort of credit in helping the Muslim population around the world. That's why. I understand. We are witnessing the systemic attempt to destroy Uyghurs by the Chinese party state, Pompeo wrote in a statement Tuesday. The U.S. is now the first state to accuse China of genocide, even though it has been documented by many other places as well, and I've used several different sources. Such a determination is rare and could prompt the Biden administration to oppose even more sanctions on the United States rival. Well, Pompeo already did that for you. Then Biden campaign spokesperson Andrew Bates said last year that the Chinese Communist Party's policies amounted to a genocide. Wouldn't flat out and call it that way, but yeah, Pompeo just looked over there and was like, the fucking concentration camps over there? Organ harvesting, forced abortions, forced sterilizations, and brainwashing? Yeah, looks like a genocide to me. Pompeo made the determination as president-elect Joe Biden administration's, yes, is supposed to. Secretary detailed the crimes are ongoing and include the arbitrary imprisonment or other severe deprivation of physical liberty of more than 1 million civilians, forced sterilization, torture of a large number of those arbitrarily detained, forced labor, and the imposition of draconian restrictions on freedom of religion or belief, freedom of expression, and freedom of movement. Not just my words. I've said those before in the past, but that's the Secretary of State right now. He added that in addition to forced sterilization and forced abortions, the CCP had coerced Uyghur women into marrying non-Uyghurs and separated Uyghur children from their families, just like they did with the Falun Gong people before they got a hold of the Uyghur population. Pompeo said Trump's administration had for the past 4 years been working to expose the Chinese Communist Party as a Marxist-Leninist regime that exerts power over a long-suffering Chinese people through brainwashing and brute force. And there you go. In the final day, and they're still fucking doing work. Last week, the administration announced it would halt imports of cotton and tomatoes from the Xinjiang province. See? Last-minute sanctions. U.S. Customs and Border officials said they would block any imports suspecting of being tied to forced labor. Terrific. Fucking terrific. I know that immediately hurts the Uyghur camps there, but that's the best you can do. Hopefully just trying to squeeze out any reliance on slave labor. It's also in accordance with the executive order that was signed in the spring or the summer that bars any domestic companies for subsidizing businesses with direct ties to the CCP. Pompeo has also announced that the State Department would sanction 6 additional Chinese and Hong Kong officials over the arrest of, yes, I also covered this as well, the 50 pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong earlier this month. Yeah, a bunch of them, all the way from very important Hong Kong officials all the way down to just the regular street protesters as well, were among those 50 people. Since last year, the Trump administration has steadily ramped up pressure on Beijing, imposing sanctions on officials and companies for activities in Taiwan, Tibet, and the South China Sea. Such penalties have ramped up as the White House has blamed China for covering up information about COVID-19. You don't have to blame them when it's patently obvious, and all the information is starting to come out to that as well. Many of those who have taken part in the repression of the Xinjiang are already under sanction. Yeah, well, a little bit more wouldn't fucking hurt. So, as far as I can tell, Mike Pompeo had a very, very fun and very, very important final full day in office, and I'm sad to see him go. Hopefully he makes his return in 2024 alongside a brand new Trump administration or whoever is going to helm the new wave of Republicans, because the Nikki Haley's of the world ain't going to be that fucking successful in 24. Hate to break it to you, Ben Shapiro. That is the past, okay? No more of this controlled opposition where there's what? Tell me the difference between the Bill Clinton regime and the W regime, or even the fucking Obama regime, okay? None of them, nothing there was anything tangibly different from one another. Trump came in, knocked over all the shelves, ran through like a bull in a fucking china shop, and you guys hated it. And this is your penance to punish anybody who called it like they seen it, and I can't stand it. And we're just getting ramped up, so starting tomorrow, it's gonna be fucking all guns blazing. I'll be holding that old crypt keeper accountable for all of his shit, because God knows Fox News, NBC, CBS, all of your alphabet mainstream media and your big tech companies aren't going to. So your independent content creators are the only ones who are going to be out here telling you, well, what they perceive to be the truth. I show you exactly what I cover, and you guys, I always provide the descriptions as well. If you think I'm not doing a good job, feel free to read through them yourself. But it's time to go hard and build up something great over this next time that we've been provided. But I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.